Imagine you are getting ready to go on a road trip. You are all packed. It's going to be a long trip. And you're prepared. You're ready. You know it's going to be a long trip. And you're like I said, all packed and you're ready to go. And a friend hands you a set of directions and says, "I wish you well. Have fun on your trip. I can't wait until you get there." And you start driving and you're taking all the lefts and all the rights and you're following the directions to a T. Got all the street signs. You're doing everything you need. And all of a sudden, you realize that you have no idea where you are. You don't know. This isn't where you wanted to go, but it's where you ended up by following the directions that you were given. This is what happens when you follow other people's advice without telling them precisely where it is that you are trying to go. I want to talk specifically here, and I am talking specifically here about seeking advice for how to help you, your kids, your family achieve your health and nutrition goals without being explicit with someone whose advice you are seeking about where it is you are trying to go, your destination, your goals. Their advice can only take you down the path they have followed to their destination, and it may or may not match up with yours. This is where evidence is critical. When it comes to nutrition advice, health advice, it is so important that we first look to the evidence to help us decide where it is we want to end up. What destination are we seeking? That is where evidence plays a very critical and valuable role. Then we can go out and find advice to help us find the right path or the right paths to get to our destination. But if we're not clear about where it is we're going, that advice is not going to help us get there. Chances are it's going to help us get to some other spot. Evidence can help you decide where you are going, where you would like to end up, what goals you would like to pursue. Advice can help you figure out how to get there. And I don't mean to suggest that this is easy. Even myself, I have a PhD in nutritional epidemiology. For years, I did research on adult dietary patterns and wanting to understand how people made decisions about what they ate and how those decisions impacted their health. Things like cardiometabolic disease, weight gain, and obesity. And when I had kids, I realized I could do this for my kids. I could look at the evidence to say, what do I know? What does the scientific evidence tell me are behaviors that I can help give my kids from day one so that they're not becoming adults who perhaps want to change their behaviors? And that's what I did. And I was able to identify goals, my destination. I was able to use evidence to identify the destination, the goal that I had for myself, for my kids, for our family. And it worked pretty well with my first child. She was an adventurous eater. I was able to get her to engage in a lot of the things that, again, the nutrition science had told me could ultimately lead to lifelong healthy behaviors. But when number 2 came along, he didn't necessarily feel the same way and act the same way and respond the same way to the behaviors that I was using to encourage healthy eating. And so I started seeking advice. And when I did that, I wasn't clear on what I needed advice on specifically. I wasn't clear on getting to a particular destination, a particular goal. I just started following advice. Don't give fruits straight away. Fruits are full of sugar, and your kids will only want sweet foods. So start with vegetables. Okay, vegetables, but don't forget meat. Meat is really important, or your kids will be iron deficient. Start with one food at a time and wait several days. No, give them lots of flavors. They need lots of flavors to be exposed and enjoy foods. And I found myself just feeling like I was bouncing back and forth between this advice and that advice. And all of a sudden I was lost in terms of what I wanted to do. I started following advice, and it took me down other people's paths. It didn't necessarily take me down my path where I wanted to go. Now, all of that is not to say that advice isn't important. In fact, I think it is absolutely critical. We all need advice. We can take advice from people who have followed the path that we would like to follow in front of us, and we can say, how have you gotten there? You and I have similar goals. We seem to be using the same pieces of advice to set goals for ourselves. How did you get there? That advice is critical. It just needs to be held up against the question, is it taking me to the same place that I want to go? So evidence and advice both serve a purpose. But evidence, when it comes to thinking about how you want to feed yourself, your family, and your kids, and what kinds of goals you have for them, when it comes to feeding and nutrition and mealtime, evidence can help you determine where it is you want to go. Advice can help you figure out how to get there. Now, how do you determine what is evidence and what is just advice? We'll talk about that next week.